Hi everyone, it's Sue Plumb here to share another scrapbook process video with you. Today's layout that I am sharing was created especially for my dear friend Danni's 4K Hooray celebration hop. Now Danni recently achieved 4,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel, which is a fantastic achievement, so congratulations Danni. Now, Danni has asked us she's given us this grid of items here and asked us to create a project that includes 4 of the items from the grid. And in a nod to Danni as well, there are a number of us that also decided to scrap lift one of her layouts. And you could see that layout that was up in the corner there, which is one of my all-time favourite layouts from Danni. Now, it just happened to be a layout that she created for the Cocoa Vanilla Studio design team. And as I am fortunate enough to be on the same design team with Danni, I thought what better than to lift one of her Cocoa Vanilla layouts. And as I said, this one was one of my absolute all-time favourites of hers. So I decided to use the same collection that Danni had used for her layout, which was the Legendary collection. And I had no problem whatsoever with going in with basically the same style as Danni. So I used that same wood grain paper for the background. And Danni had some really subtle mixed media on this. She had some really subtle white stenciling on there. So I found an old stencil in my stash. This one was from Dusty Attic. And I decided to add some very, very subtle stenciling to my background as well. Now, when it came to the criteria, one of the criteria that I chose to incorporate on my layout was actually the ink splatters. So I actually went in and added ink splatters in 2 different colours. So you can see that I've added like a teal colour there, a turquoise colour there, and I am also adding some white splatters. Now, the reason I went in with the teal coloured splatters was because the photo that I am scrapping for this layout is actually a photo of my 2 boys that I took on the day of their cross country at school. So one of them actually came second in the race and the other one came 5th, which was a great achievement for both of them. Danni actually had a layout of herself and her son when he was a baby, and so hers had a bit of a boyish edge to it, but as there was no girls in my photo at all, I decided to make mine even more boyish. So you would have seen on Danni's layout there that she actually had some leaves. There was a lot of leaves surrounding her photos that she had cut from pattern paper, and then she had added some stitching to them. So I decided to sub out the leaves that Danni had on her layout, and I actually decided to incorporate stars as well. Or stars instead, I should say. Now, the title, I knew the title of my layout was actually going to be Superstars, because my boys were superstars on this day. So I thought what better than to actually use stars to embellish this layout. So while my pattern paper background, which was another of the criteria from Danni's list, was off drying with those splatters and the texture paste on it, I started to fiddle around with the papers that were going to go underneath my photo for the matte. So one thing I did pull in from another collection is you can see that teal chevron paper that I've got there. That was actually from the Sun-Kissed collection, but it matched so beautifully with my boys' shirts that I knew I had to bring that colour in somewhere. So then I've added a piece of pattern paper over the top of that that's got a star print on it. That was from the Legendary collection, and it was the same paper that Danni had actually used to matte her photo on the original layout as well. Now, into my stack there, I also tucked in a grey paper doily. And the reason I chose the grey for this was because I knew I was going to be using grey stars on this page, and I really wanted to pull that colour in somewhere else as well. I also added some frayed gauze for some texture behind it because I still had to make this my own. And then I stapled that stack together just so that things wouldn't move around, and it allowed me to move it around on the page. Now, as I said, I knew I was going to use the title of Superstars for this layout. Now, ordinarily, and I did discuss titles in my previous video too, ordinarily I wouldn't normally put this much thought into a title this early on a page. Usually it sort of just happens organically as I go. But because the title was, Danni had used a cut file title, and it was such a feature on her page that I knew I had to put some consideration into my title, because I really wanted to run it along the bottom of my photo where hers had also been placed. So I decided to use the die cut titles from the Legendary collection. And in there I found the word super, and I also found the word star. Now, this is the problem when you scrap twins, is sometimes you've just got to be a little bit flexible, and sometimes you just have to find ways to get around things. So what I actually did was I took another word from the die cut title pack and I cut off the extra S and just sort of tacked it on the end so that it said superstars. Now, what I did was I stuck, because my photo had been mounted up on cardstock and it was sitting up slightly from the background, I had to pop some foam tape behind that so that I could adhere my title along the bottom edge of the photo, and it popped out up from the page as well. So there we have it. That was basically the main structure of the page in place. And now I knew I had to embellish around the photo in the same way that Danni had done. So I was rifling through the die cut ephemera pack, and you can see on the desk there, I've also got the Legendary accessory sticker sheet. And while I was rifling through the ephemera pack, I did find that little ribbon there that said Certified Legend. And I thought, ribbon, sports day, perfect. It had to go on the page as soon as I found it. So I popped that over on the right-hand side, knowing that I was going to embellish sort of right, left, and above the photo, just as Danni had done. I knew I was going to pop that ribbon on the right-hand side, but it needed something behind it because it needed some layers and I needed to fluff it out a bit. So I reached for that really large sort of die-cut star there that's got the open center. And I like the way that this actually shows through the background, and you can see the stenciling through the center of the star there as well. So I found another large star that I decided to tuck in above the photo, and then for the the left-hand side there, I had a smaller size. Now I went with 3 of those sort of open center stars to start, just to give me a bit of balance. And you can see that I've got a variety of different size stars on the desk there, and I just went in and added those in around the larger stars, and just to build out those clusters a bit. So it wasn't a difficult page, this one, because thankfully Danni had the layout there that had provided me the guidance and the idea to start with. So it was just a matter of taking Danni's basic design and putting my twist on it, and I was really happy with how it came out. So yeah, here I am. I'm still sticking down these little die cut stars. You can see in the left hand corner of the photo there that I've stuck that little banner sticker from the accessory sticker sheet that says "Hey You," so that it sort of reads "Hey You Superstars." Once I had all of the stars in place, I had to go back to the criteria list and see what else I had to get on my page. So I chose the tiny word stickers because they were sitting right there, and that ticked another one off the list. So I stuck a couple above the photo there. I chose that Ready, Set, Go because I thought, really, it's a race. Like, that is the perfect sticker for this. And also Too Cool for School because this was taken at school. And then the third one I chose was Like a Boss, which I stuck down below the title at the bottom there. Now, the final thing that I was doing off the list was Danni had enamel dots or Nuvo drops, and I had the coordinating enamel dots there. So I just scattered a variety of those around the page, and that was basically my design done. The only thing I did off camera was I stamped the date onto that large star on the right-hand side, and I added a line of journaling with a white gel pen. So I was looking over my layout here and just checking off all the things on the list. You can see that I got pattern paper background, I've got the ink splatters, I've got the tiny word stickers, and I've also got the enamel dots. So I'll just give you another final look. There's Danni's original layout, and there's my completed layout there. Make sure you hop around and check out everyone else that's playing along, and thanks so much for watching today. I'll see you next time. Bye.